Are you a mom who needs a break? You've come to the right place. Join me and other moms weekly to hear biblical wisdom and our own journey as mothers. This is Moms on Break. Thank you for joining us here on Moms on Break. We are in part 2 of a series titled True Education, and we have Joshua White joining us. Joshua, thank you for taking time to share with moms. This is really inspiring, critical information for us as moms, and it's really a new way of thinking compared to the world. So it's something I'm really passionate about and excited about moms learning, and I'm excited about learning myself. So I won't speak too much longer. If you've missed part 1, please go back and listen. That really laid the foundation for what is true education. Definitely. In the Cliff Notes version. And today we're narrowing, putting the magnifying glass on one part of true education, which is physical development. And I want to take us to Psalm 139, verse 14, which says, "I will praise thee, for I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Marvelous are thy works, and that my soul knoweth right well." So Joshua, we'll let you dive into physical development.
Amen. Thank you, Stacy. It's a pleasure to be back. And, like you mentioned, one of the things we talked about in our last session on true education was that rather than just filling the mind with information, true education has to be harmonious development of the physical, the mental, and the spiritual capacities of the individual.
Amen.
So,
not just mental, moms,
right.
what we tend to focus on.
So I want to talk about one area that it really actually forms a foundation for the other two, and that is physical development. It's a fact not often discussed, but physical development lays a foundation for both mental and spiritual development. So if we want to have the child to have good mental abilities and even to do well academically, we need to first focus on plenty of physical activity when they are young.
Amen. One of my favorite authors says, "Let children be free as lambs."
Yes.
And that's so true to this. It fits with this.
Absolutely. And whatever promotes physical health is going to promote the development of a strong mind and a well-balanced character.
Amen.
World-renowned educational psychologist Dr. Jane Healy, she says, after birth, physical activities are one of the child's main means of advancing physical, intellectual, and emotional growth. So you should encourage many forms of body movement. Scientific research tells us that, especially for the young child, physical activity is actually more important than the time spent studying, even for academic success. It's a vital key to proper development, yet it is so simple that we often overlook it. So as we talk here about physical development, I just want us to realize that this lays a foundation for so much of the later education and general health and well-being and happiness of the child. Let's talk first of all about a few ways in which physical activity affects the brain. This is some amazing science. First of all, the cerebellum. The cerebellum is a large and important area behind the brainstem, and it is linked and interacts with the higher frontal levels in the brain, those good thinking and decision-making skills. And it also deals with many other skills like language and social interaction and music and the ability to perform repetitive activities automatically like handwriting and paying attention, and the list goes on. So how do we help develop the cerebellum? Very simple, physical activity. Movement is actually necessary for the cerebellum to develop properly. And that's pretty much any whole body movement, rocking, crawling, spinning, hanging upside down, jumping, as well as just general useful work around the house. These will all help develop the cerebellum.
Amen.
Pretty fascinating.
That's pretty simple.
It is. It is so simple, right?
Yes.
Next would be the hippocampus, part of the brain that's known primarily for its role in supporting memory abilities, although it also helps with spatial navigation and behavior. I'm sure moms would appreciate that one. And emotional skills. A study published by the Society for Research in Child Development found that, quote, higher fit children have larger brain volumes in the basal ganglia and hippocampus, which relate to superior performance on tasks of cognitive control and memory. So right there, we have physical activity helping develop an area of the brain important for memory and behavior. We also have the corpus callosum. The corpus callosum is a part of the brain that connects the brain hemispheres and aids in cognition, motor skills, sensory information, and a lot more. A study that was published in Frontiers in Neuroscience found increased development of the corpus callosum in children who participated in a physical activity program. But what's more, and this is what's really fascinating to me, they found that physical activity especially helped the development of what's called the genu of the corpus callosum, which is the region of the corpus callosum that connects with the frontal lobe. That's the decision-making, especially the moral decision-making part of the brain. So physical activity actually helps our children make better moral decisions. And I think that should grab our attention.
Yes, it should.
Yet another reason, and we could just go on for a long time here, but let me just mention one other one here, Bdnf. This stands for the brain-derived neurotropic factor. When we exercise, our working muscles send chemicals into our bloodstream, including a protein known as IGF-1, and that stimulates the production of a brain chemical called the brain-derived neurotropic factor, Bdnf. This chemical has been dubbed miracle grow for the brain. It improves the function of neurons, encourages new neurons to grow, protects them from stress and cell death. And when it comes to the development of a child's brain, Bdnf, this chemical, is essential. An article published in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences found that it was required as a core process of brain development called myelination. And so, again, we could go on down the list. Physical activity has been found to improve overall mental health, quality of life, enhance brain function, improve behavior, concentration, increase blood flow to the brain, reduce stress, improve the mood, increase growth factors, improve thinking and problem-solving abilities, and, there's a lot more. This is just a sampling of the scientific research. Amen. So if you're wanting to boost learning outcomes and spiritual development and help your little ones just enjoy a happy childhood, then we should schedule in some more physical activity.
And I don't know what else we could say to make you want to get going and moving, because that's just inspiring.
Absolutely. Now, the question, of course, would be, well, how much physical activity per day? And that's a good question. It does depend a little bit on the age of the child. For older children, let's say about 10 years of age and up, a good rule of thumb based on the research would be every day to have at least half the day spent on activity or on practical useful work, and then one part study, sedentary work, or if absolutely needed, screen use. Wow, at least half the day should be spent doing something active. We're talking there for the older child. And
this is something that should really open our eyes, because in our world, that's not really the focus. Right. So, wow, great challenge.
Now, for young children, the rules are different. Even more time should be spent in physical activity. We're talking most of the day, or all day would be ideal, because proper development hinges on proper amount of movement and exercise and activity. I do want to clarify, let's not confuse physical activity with exercise. Good vigorous aerobic exercise is very healthy. It's needed by children. But of course, spending all day exercising would be a bit excessive.
That's not the point here.
Right.
Do that.
We're just talking of general physical activity. This can be, for the little toddler, it's helping mom carry the laundry basket to the living room, or washing dishes, sweeping the floor. These are all great activities. And of course, outdoor activity is even best, like gardening. And then, yes, some aerobic exercise, taking a run or something like that is great, but don't feel like that has to be all day.
No.
And again, don't neglect the outdoor activity. Children spend way too much time indoor these days. And
this is challenging to me and inspiring. I want to, let's get out. Let's just get out. And they'll love it.
Absolutely. They do love it. Children love being outside. And these can be simple things. Take a walk, look at the trees, watch the birds, go for a bike ride, or just lie down. I remember as a child just laying there watching the clouds.
And it's amazing what they can find in nature.
Absolutely.
That teaches the adults, like how they see that, how they, recognize that if they're in tune with
Definitely.
that.
And then a third category of physical activity, which we definitely don't want to leave out, would be useful work. We'll find some of the greatest benefits for physical activity there, not to mention not only for the body, but also for the character. And again, as I mentioned, just start with the daily duties of the home.
Chores, Mom.
Right?
This is music to our
Right.
ears.
Laundry, dishes, sweeping the floor, washing the windows. You know the list, moms. Definitely,
That's
get them
right.
involved in that. That's part of their education. I remember talking with a gentleman, a great father one time, and he said, look, their education is not just the books. Doing the chores, that is their education.
That is education.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's a good part of what we start with in our day is chores. Even
Right.
before we do our family worship, they are busying around getting chores done. It's
Absolutely. That's
big part.
important. And then, of course, again, get outside. Gardening has so many benefits to children. Get in the environment of agriculture, and there are many things that children can learn from that. In fact, gardening has been found to help children academically, which is just amazing. Where's the connection? I guess it's just helping the brain so much through that experience.
I love that.
And let me just also mention, people are saying, well, what about wintertime? How do I get outside in the wintertime? Hey, as the saying goes, there's no such thing as bad weather, just bad clothes, right?
I like that. That's so true. Don't let it stop you.
Absolutely. I used to live in northern Michigan, and I found there was so much beauty in the colder months, just getting out there, spending time in nature. And you can actually spend maybe more time because you're not so busy with all the chores, the outdoor chores.
And moms, get out there with them.
Right.
Because it clears our minds so much, too, and helps us have a new lease.
Absolutely, yeah. And that really is the last thing I would mention. In physical activity, do it together. Don't just send the kids out to get physical activity on their own. And I know that's easy to do. Moms have a busy schedule and they want to just get the kids outside, but no, go out there with them, engage in these activities with their children. I think about carrying firewood. A young child can carry a small piece of firewood while you take a big load. They can rake the leaves, even if they're maybe not really accomplishing much by adult standards. They will thrive in the garden with its round of planting and weeding and watering and harvesting. Again, the amount of work they're accomplishing is not the point. The point is they're with you.
And actually, it won't take long before they really are helpful.
Absolutely, that's true.
At a young age.
Right.
And they feel good when they're being helpful.
Absolutely, yeah. It's good for their characters.
Satisfying.
And take walks together, as I mentioned, just being in nature. It's not just about the work. And bind their hearts to yours. That's really a goal, connecting their heart with yours. And one of the best ways to do that is just spending time together.
Amen. Oh, moms, we should be inspired. I know sometimes we can get overwhelmed with how can I fit this one more thing in? But it should be kind of freeing that we can really squeeze a lot of unnecessary things out.
Absolutely.
And just put in these most important things. So don't get overwhelmed. Just start by getting outside a little more each day. And that's inspiring to me and a challenge as well because I need it. I need it more than I am. So,
Amen. And of course, if you'd like to learn more about true education and even the benefits of physical activity, you can visit our website. That's thinkinggeneration.org. We have a blog there with helpful articles, including one about physical activity. So you can go there and read up on a lot of what we've just talked about. And you can visit our store and find many books and DVDs to help you follow true education. And I would specifically recommend our DVD, Educating a Thinking Generation. It's an 8-part series for parents to learn how to follow true education. We have lots more material coming up. You can find on our homepage subscription, both to our newsletter and our blog, to learn about new materials. So
Amen.
Thank you again.
Amen. Thank you for joining us, Joshua. We'll be coming back next week to do another one. It's one of my favorites, so please don't miss out on that. And moms, go back to Moms on Break and find one on exercise. We have a real practical one that you could listen to get you inspired to start moving with your kids. So until next time,
Thank you.
Start exercising. Bye-bye. You can find Moms on Break on Facebook, Instagram, and your favorite podcast service. Subscribe, like, and comment to be a part of all our mom talk. Moms on Break is a production of Pathway to Paradise Ministries.